Hi there, it's Laura here from Making Cards is Fun. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I'll be creating a Lawn Fawn Lift the Flaps card featuring their unicorn picnic and all the clouds theme set. It's been a really long time since I wanted to make a card with the Lift the Flaps die-cut set, actually ever since it came out. And now I finally had the chance to play with this set and create a really cute unicorn cards that I am also entering into the current Lawn Fanatics challenge. So I stamped these images on Nina Star White cardstock using Memento Tuxedo black ink, and now I am coloring them using Copic sketch markers. Some of you also may have noticed that I have a brand new logo and video intro as well as a new end screen here on my YouTube channel and blog. My brand new logo is designed by Dennis, who is a graphic designer and published crochet designer from the Netherlands, and he created this beautiful new and adorable logo for me. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Dennis and a big thank you because I really love my new logo. It really reflects all of the things that I love. It has pastel colors, then this really cute kawaii envelope, this really fun playful font, and just the overall design is really my cup of tea. So back to my card, I am showing you all of the Copic colors that I used on the screen here on the left. As always, I start out with my lightest color just to get those colors moving more easily and just to make the blending a little bit more easy. Then I use my darkest color to add my first layer of shading. Then I blend that out using the mid-tone shades, and finally I go back in with the lightest color to blend everything together and to add a little bit of extra highlight. So for my little fairy on the left wearing the left dress, I used the same shades of brown that I used before in the video. So I used E27, E57, and E55. Then for her hair, I'm using N6, N4, and N2. There you go. So I really loved combining all of these little images to create a really fun and cute picnic scene for my unicorns. Of course, it's a little bit of a magical picnic scene since they are unicorns, of course. For my unicorns, I used the pink, the turquoise, and the purple colors I used to color my rainbow. Then to color the actual unicorns, first I went in with W00 and the colorless blender, but I just thought it was a little bit too light. So then I went over that with a shade darker, which is W0. Next, I am die cutting the slimline rectangle from the small slimline with lift the flaps die cut set from Lawn Fawn. And then I am die cutting that little die over there to create the actual flaps. To hold down my die while I am ink blending, I'm using some purple masking tape. And I just had to record this 3 times because I couldn't properly pronounce to hold down my die while ink blending. It's kind of tricky actually. Alright, so anyway, I am going in with Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide ink to add color to this entire piece, and I am using a larger blending brush than I normally use because I'm just going to use one single color, and this is just a little bit easier and faster. Then I'm using some watercolor paint and a lot of water to add some splatters to my cardstock because this is just something that I really love to do lately. It just really adds an extra touch to your entire card design. Then I die cut this cloud backdrop from the Puffy Cloud die cut set from Lawn Fawn, and I am going to use I'm going to trim it down a little bit so I can just use one layer of clouds for my lift the flaps mechanism. Because I wanted the same shape of my lift the flaps piece, I'm going to do some partial die cutting. So I'm just lining that up using my purple masking tape to hold that down. Then I run it through the die cutting machine, and now you will see that it has that little notch over there and it lines up perfectly. So I did this 12 times, I think. Yeah, 12 times. And then I used some Tumbled glass distressed oxide ink to add some color to that. And now I'm going in with some more watercolor paints. I'm using this white glitter paint, and I'm also going in with a shade of purple and then the darker blue that I used on my other piece of this card. And in total, it took me about 6 hours at least to create this card, and I spread it over 3 or 4 days. I am a really slow card maker. Some people just kind of produce cards and they make it look so easy and so fast, and then they have these gorgeous cards. And then I feel like, am I that slow? Because I want to be a little bit faster when I'm making cards, but I think that I am a huge perfectionist, and only coloring usually takes me about an hour and a half, sometimes even 2 hours, and then it takes me, let's say, like 15 or 20 minutes just to figure out how I am going to position my colored images on my finished cards. So I just probably need to be a little bit less of a perfectionist, I guess. But it's really hard. So let me know in the comments below how long you usually spend on making a card, because it just takes me way too long, I think. Alright, so I die cut these little puffy cloud border thingies 12 times, as I mentioned before. 6 times for the front of my lift the flaps card, and then 6 more times for the inside. So I layered those two borders together, so the white border and then the blue border, using my Lawn Fawn glue tube. And I'm going to use the same Lawn Fawn glue tube in some foam squares to adhere all of my images on my card. And I had a lot of fun playing around with these images. As I mentioned before, it probably took me about 20 minutes to figure out how I want to position these images on my card. The foam squares I'm using are from Scrapbook Adhesives, and they are by far my favorite foam squares out there. I'm not sure why, but I guess they're just really the perfect size, perfect thickness, and then also the backer sheet comes off really easy and really fast. I die cut my lift the flaps mechanism one more time, and I'm going to trim that down a little bit so I can fit that in the inside of my lift the flaps card, because I wanted these stitched edges to line up, and I think that it just looks a little bit more finished when you do this and when you take the time to do this extra step. So just like I did before, I'm going in with Tumbled glass distressed oxide ink, a little bit of that watercolor paint. Then I am going to adhere those two borders together to create a really nice cloud border for my unicorns. There you go. So I'm just using my Lawn Fawn glue tube, and I actually have a band-aid around my finger over here because I burnt my finger while I was making dinner and it just didn't look that pretty, so I had to put a band-aid on there. I'm using my Crafter's Companion clear sparkle pen to add a little bit of shine and glitter to these images, and I'm also going in with Tonic Studios Crystal Glaze, but later in the video I'll be switching to Glossy Accents. There's really not much of a difference between these two products. I really like them both equally. I went in with my Glossy Accents already because I was going to adhere that to the inside of my lift the flaps card, so of course I needed to make sure that that Glossy Accents was completely dry. I'm prepping my cardstock using my Be Your Memory Keeper powder tool, and then I am stamping my sentiment using Versamark ink. Also sprinkling on my favorite Opaque bright white embossing powder from Wow, and then I am heat setting that until it's melted completely. So I just wanted to go back to that glossy accents part over there. So I let that dry overnight before adhering it to the finished card, because of course I wanted to prevent my glossy accents from smudging. You could of course just skip that step. So now that these pieces are dry, I can adhere them to the inside of my Lift the Flaps card using my Scotch ATG double-sided adhesive. I die cut this large stitched slimline rectangle from the large slimline with sliders die cut set from Fawn, and I'm using some double-sided foam adhesive from Scotch, to adhere that piece on my blue note card, to adhere my Lift the Flaps piece on my dark blue cardstock. Finally, I am going back in with my Crafter's Companion Clear Sparkle Pen, and of course, I am also adding a coat of glossy accents. So there you go, that finishes up my card. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell below. I will see you very soon. Bye bye!